everybody, and welcome back to Track to Noise podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We are a week away from Ipswich versus Sunderland in the Premier League, and ahead of that, we are now coming at you with our Premier League predictions for all things Town this season. To help me look ahead to this season and highlight some key areas of Town, such as player of the season and where Town will finish in the Premier League, which is what we're all looking at this season. I'm delighted to say, joined first by Mr. Adam Cornish. Good to see you, Adam.
Hey, are you all right? All good?
Yeah, good to see you, mate. And Richard, long time no see. How's the summer been? If people watching on YouTube can see our contrasting backgrounds. One house is renovated, one is not. But
yeah, that's true. Although my clothes are drying in the background, so that's not the best, is it? Yeah, all right, mate. It's been hot, hasn't it? It's been hot.
Yeah.
That's been the news.
I was down south. I live up north, but I was down south this week, and it was unbearable. So we had a bit of rain up north today as well.
Wow.
So, grass is getting greener.
Nice.
And hopefully grass will get greener for Ipswich Town this season in the Premier League. Look at that. So on today's show, guys, we're going to have, like I said, Premier League predictions, but kind of obviously, as it is in this podcast, Ipswich Town focus. So things like who our player of the season could be, like an unsung hero, maybe a player from the Championship who could make the step up and be a key member of the team. Who will our best signing be? Obviously, the window's not shut yet, but as of now, who will our best signing of the season be? Most importantly, where will Town finish? And then something like a surprising hot take, like something slightly out of the ordinary that you think could happen this season. Rob and James aren't with us today, but they filled in their predictions, so we can read those out and lambast them or praise them or just ignore them if they're pretty crap. But we'll go through all that stuff on today's show. So the first one, guys, really, we'll just get stuck in, and I think it's the big one, isn't it? It is, what do you reckon our points tally will be, and most importantly, where do you think we will finish? We'll go through you guys first, and we'll touch on what myself and Rob and James have put first. But Richard, how many points have you given us, and where do you think we'll finish? I should add, by the way, guys, on our old podcast, Richard said ahead of a 24-25 season, I always harken about this, we were going to finish 10th. Obviously didn't, but I think we're still riding higher from when we went up a few years ago. So it may not be that outlandish this time, but where have you put Town in the 26-27 season?
Yeah, that one was optimistic, obviously. But, it was the first time in 22 years we were in the Premier League, so why not shoot for the moon? But what have I gone for this year? I've gone for something a bit more circumspect, but I've still got us staying up. 15th with 42 points, which would be about double, right, of what we got last time.
Yeah, give or take, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the big thing, the points total this season, last year may have been a slight anomaly with Tottenham kind of being there or thereabouts. So the total was really high. I think West Ham went down just above 40, just shy of 40. Adam will know more than me. But
they went down with 39, didn't they? Or 38, something like that.
That may have been a slight outlier in compared to previous years. So we may not need, obviously, that much. But it does seem like you will need a high amount, obviously, to start this season. But yeah, 15th, that'd be an amazing season if that was the case.
Yeah.
Is that where have you put Town, Adam? Above or below?
I have gone 14th with 46 points.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, very, obviously 42, 46 points, a swing of a couple of games. I just feel that we're not going to be as open as last time. I feel like we've got more going forward than we had last time. I just feel like we'll be in more games. Last time we weren't getting blown away by teams. There was a lot of games that we were losing sort of 1-0 or 2-1. And I just feel that we've got players who potentially can score a goal and earn us an extra point, or where we were drawing 0-0 at Brighton and 2-2 against Villa. We had a striker in some of those games, and the 2-2 against Man United at home for Amarin's first game. Like, if we had a striker, a consistently scoring striker, obviously Liam Delap was still fresh to the game. I just feel like we're in a lot better position this time to hopefully put some points on the board early doors as well.
Who do you see? Obviously, I assume two of the sides below us, below 14th or 15th, respectively, would be Coventry and Hull, unless they have a sort of miraculous Sunderland season. Who would you see below us then? Obviously, there's going to have to be some sides thrust up. There's going to have to be a established, quote unquote, Premier League team to go down. Who do you see maybe having a slight blip this year in comparison to previous, Richard?
Well, yeah, there's going to be teams that are going to struggle, I think, to back up brilliant seasons last year. You look at Brentford, Sunderland, maybe even Palace. Palace have obviously lost Oliver Glasner. I would say those three would be the three that I would look at. One or two of those will kind of like fall away a little bit more. And then there's always going to be somebody that has a poor year for whatever reason, lots of injuries and stuff. So we can't expect Spurs to finish 17th again, even though that would be fantastic. Well, actually, I'd quite like them to finish lower than that. But we can't expect them to go that low again. So a couple of other teams are going to have to fall away a little bit. But I do see, I mean, Keith Andrews, that was an incredible season that he put together for Brentford last year. But teams always get worked out a little bit, those second kind of like seasons and stuff. And I kind of see that with Sunderland potentially a little bit too. Granit Xhaka was obviously amazing for them last year, but is he going to repeat that at 34? Arguably not, maybe. So yeah, those two would be mine that would fall away a little bit, and Palace, I think, as well. Will maybe. Glasner was amazing for them, so they might struggle a little bit without him.
Yeah, is there another team maybe up northeast there, Adam, with loss for a great manager and star players going the ball, maybe not looking to finance? Obviously, like Newcastle here could be taking Spurs' spot this season and being a bit lower than we expect.
Yeah, a lot of people are writing Newcastle off. I still think they've got good quality there. I don't know anything about their new manager. Obviously, he's been out in Saudi Arabia. He's obviously a different approach of manager. It's very odd to make that managerial change 2 weeks before the season when it's such a different contrast in styles. I think the club that are going to drop this year will be Fulham. I don't think they're very good. I don't think they've been very good for years. And I honestly believe that I think their manager was the Portuguese fella.
Yes,
no, the Portuguese fella who went to Benfica.
It's Marco Silva, wasn't it?
Marco Silva. I think he was a real big part of them staying up. And I know that it's going to sound Ipswich biased, but I think we've signed two of their established players in the, people who know the league, know the game, and can get them out of a hole. And they've gone and signed two youngsters from Real Madrid, who was there with Arbeloa last season. Yeah, I just think that they'll struggle. I really do. And I honestly think that they could end up finishing below either Coventry or Hull.
Before we get to our player of the season and our best signing as well, I should say Rob and James, obviously, from a town perspective, have put us both staying up as well. With James at 15th from 37 points, and Rob maybe being a bit realistic with 17th, so just surviving with 36, so a slightly lower amount there. Then I've gone 16th with 40 points, so no one's higher than 14th. I think that's fair to say. But Richard, like, big question is, do you think we have what it takes? I mean, it's obviously taken from our perspective, we'd like to think we do, but I think if you look at the signings made on paper in comparison to 2 years ago, the amount of experience we have in the league now, I think I saw a clip the other day. It's like, less than 50 combined Prem appearances last time up between that team, and this time it's like north of 400. So the experience is there, isn't it? And the profile of player is a bit more different, a bit more oomph, shall we say, to the signings you brought through. And you'd like to think we can put ourselves in better stead. More than one home win. Let's get that on the board first.
And even basic stuff like, power and height and things like that. We've bought that basically, particularly with the likes of Lukic and Diop, who's obviously been mentioned already, from Fulham and stuff, and the goalkeeper being the biggest ever in the league. So I think things like that clearly were identified as lacking from the squad last time, as well as, not having Premier League experience and stuff. We had to add that kind of athleticism and physicality to the team, which we, going in with Luongo and Morsey last time, great servants as they were to the club in lower leagues, it was never going to work, really. We were just overpowered in midfield, game after game, particularly in the second half of the season when teams worked us out a little bit more. So yeah, I think we do have a better opportunity. I think it's really difficult to predict though, because we've got that thing again of like putting a whole new team together, and you're expecting teams to gel and stuff, players to gel and stuff quite quickly. And obviously we've had a decent pre-season, and some of the signs have looked hopeful in that capacity. And I think a few players from last year have pushed on a little bit, and are making a case for maybe starting and things like that as well. But there's also 2 weeks to go in the window, so I would expect another 3 or 4 players to come into the squad, and another 3 or 4 players probably to go out of the squad. But I think overall, for some reason, even though I predicted as being 10th last year, because I just thought we'd have a flyer based on all of that momentum that we had. Not last year, sorry, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think this time it is more realistic because of that experience and because of the kind of attributes that we've purposefully added to the squad this time that we just didn't manage to do last time at all. And, a lot of it was based on momentum last time and the McKenna effect. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out that way.
No, well, I think as you said and pointed out, we seem on paper at least better equipped this time to give it a better go. And obviously, Sunderland at home is the first proving ground for that. So we've all got Town staying. I think that's no surprise. I think it'd be a bit of a bleak affair if we all said, or one of us said at least, that we're going to go down.
Surprised Rob didn't, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Well, he put us 17th, so I think he was flirting with the idea of us going down. But in the end, his blue tinted glasses saw him see the light there. Looking at the next prediction we've got here, guys, is as of now, because as I said at the start of the show, there's a few weeks left of the window, but who will be the best signing that we've made? Adam, who have you got listed down for this?
Current moment, I've gone for Daison Maeda. I feel that his high energy, his ability to run for 150 minutes, what feels like he doesn't seem to tire. I think the way that O'Neill will set up, obviously there's a video on YouTube of him doing his masterclass where he had his Wolves team against Chelsea, and he talks through the players and the movements that they were due to make and stuff. And I just think that Maeda's got that quality. He can run all day. We've seen it. He's got that sort of flair about him. He can score goals, which he did in the Scottish Premier League. So I was really excited when we signed him, and I think it's an absolute snip of a price at 9 million. I really, really feel like we've got a brilliant player. I know I was obviously on his last year of his contract, wanted to leave Celtic, and they needed to cash in. Obviously, I don't know who else was in for him, but there's also a number 10 that I'm looking forward to more. He ain't here yet, so we can't talk.
Yeah. At time recording, you know who from maybe Paraguay is not here yet, but yeah, it's a good pick. Who have you got, Richard, as your signing of the season as well?
It's boring for the listeners, but exactly the same, and for pretty much the same reasons. I think the what you need to do in the Premier League is like run and run and run. And Town have got 38 games. We don't care about the cup competitions at all this year. Obviously you're going to come up against the big boys who will be playing in Europe and playing in the cup competitions and trying to go deep and stuff. And whatever points you get against, the top 5 is bonus points, really, even though we did all right last time with the Chelsea results and the Villa results and Man United taking a point and stuff. But any results against those guys is a bonus. But against the others, you got to run and run and run. And he has the attributes to do that. I think the big comparison, to last time, you look at 9 million for him and we spent 9 million on Schmodix. And I know with maybe a bit of Harry hindsight kind of comparing the two, but I think they are chalk and cheese. Like Schmodix obviously had that great year at Blackburn, but I think he's showing what the level he is. He's a decent championship player, but he was never, ever that Premier League player. And he always tired in games after 65, 70 minutes. And that was McKenna's kind of style anyway to, circulate the front line. But I think Maeda, you will get, if he's fit, you'll get 90 minutes of high energy out of him all the time, and he'll score goals. And I know people at Celtic have talked about his first touch and stuff being a bit dodgy and things sometimes, and finishing not being the best. But you're spending 9 million on him. You're not getting, top quality players, but you're getting somebody with the attributes that are really, hopefully can really help you. So I think if he stays fit, he's going to be really effective for us, and he'd be one of the first names on my team sheet, I think.
Yeah, brilliantly put. I think with him as well, it's, there's some people like sort of sneer a bit at the Scottish League, I think, but I think considering his experience and his physical attributes, as well as, what he's done for his country as well, they unfortunately managed to fall at the very early hurdles again this summer, which some people expect him to go further into the World Cup, but again, he put himself in really good stead. Myself and James have put, and you mentioned him as well already, Richard, in terms of the profile player, and you mentioned bringing some lads from Fulham in, gone for Lukic. I really liked the spells he had at Fulham. Obviously, sometimes in and out of the team, but physically, I think it's a really, really top player. And I think from the sprint, because we've seen him in pre-season, settled in quite well. You don't need to worry about him sort of finding his feet in the league. It just looks like a really, really sure hand. And it's polar opposite, I think, in terms of form and attributes, what we had in our midfield 3, or maybe 4 if you include like Calvin Phillips, if you want back then 2 years ago. It's just like ready to go. It's the profile you need and want from a player in that position. And I think he could be really, really handy. Rob has put And again, time recording, it's not happened yet, and Adam alluded to it there, and see so. Hopefully he's confirmed by the time the pod goes out. He put in his notes there. Not done yet, unfortunately, but I saw someone on his Instagram apparently had a fresh trim, so maybe he's getting ready for his photo shoot. But you'd like to think later this week that will be confirmed. But yeah, I think out of all the names we've brought through this summer, I think those ones definitely will shine. One more as well, looking at before we move to like player of the season and just surprising hot take, guys, is who could like the unsung player of the season be? So this is more maybe looking at a player who was with the team last year or been with the club for a couple of years now. And, you know, for the most part, the squad can get gutted and the ones who go up necessarily aren't key the season up, no matter how disappointing that may be. But hopefully some of the guys can make the step up to the Premier League and really, really flourish. Who have you gone for, Adam, to maybe be an not unsung hero because he's already a hero having gotten the team promoted, but just finding their feet in the Premier League and still being a key member of the squad?
Yeah, I've gone for Jacob Greaves. Obviously, everyone who knows me, I'm a big Jacob Greaves fan. I think he's one of the best centre-backs with the ball at his feet. I think he reads the game so well. There's not a header he misses. And he's in a situation where he's already... It seems like he's in O'Neill's plans. He started basically every pre-season game. Obviously, even more so that they needed to bring Diop in and then moved Dara O'Shea out onto the right. Obviously, they're both right-sided defenders. We haven't got another left-sided, so I understand that he was going to start, but there's... Obviously, last year he didn't start, and we played Kipre on the left side next to O'Shea. But I just feel that Greaves has really grown into that role. Obviously, he's got that pace, what we've seen at left back, where he can get in front of players. He can, puts his body on the line. I'm a massive fan, and I really hope this year's his year. And he kicks on for us.
I think with him, we saw, obviously, it was like a shiny new toy 2 years ago, so we weren't entirely familiar with him that much, obviously, as a Town player. But that debut against Liverpool, I think we were all really, really excited by that. And then a few injuries in that season, as well as Rich said, being kind of found out as a team, didn't really help him. But you saw last year of a full season, obviously, Kipre kind of breathing down his neck, but I think he kind of solidified that spot in the latter stages of the season. Richard, who's your... it sounds weird saying unsung hero, doesn't it? Considering they're already had their song being sung as Town players. But
my unsung player... Well, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, Christian Walton, because he always is. Because we'll probably have injuries for keepers, or... Christian Walton always finds his way back to being Ipswich number one at some point. And can he do it for a third time in his career? It would take circumstances of, a couple of them getting injured, perhaps. But I've gone for him. But I think Greaves is a good shout. He's I think we'll probably buy another defender. I think we probably need to buy another centre back, probably, because Kipre, I know how Adam feels about him, but I don't think he can be your fourth. I don't think you need to be relying on him, to be honest. So I think we do need to bring in another centre half. But does that mean that, at times Greaves can move out to left back? Because I think I quite liked him there, and he can be our own Dan Burn, a massive sort of centre half. And maybe if we play Dara O'Shea on the right, we're doing the Man City thing from a couple of years ago, playing 4 centre backs.
That works very well.
Yeah. But I do quite like him at left back, Greaves. So even if he's not in the centre of defence, I wouldn't mind him at left back, because I don't think Davis should play there. I think we'll talk about Davis in a bit, but I think Davis should probably be being played further forward, and I think it'd be really effective further forward. But yeah, that's just my sort of mind with him, because I think defensively he's still not improved enough, I don't think, and I think he could be found out a little bit back in the Premier League. But yeah, I went for Walton purely because he's done it before, and the goalkeeper position, even though we've bought 2 new keepers, and I was listening to you guys the other day, both of them have obviously attributes that point to them being number one. The value of the fact that Sherpen, 9 million or 10 million euros, whatever it is, points to the fact that he's going to be the number one. But the other guy, Kane Van Uren, with his feet, his distribution and stuff, goes back to the whole Hladky thing of being great out from the back and stuff. And, that worked for us so well at that point. So depending on the style of play that we go for in the end, will be, I guess, which one of those wins out. But for some reason, Walton just sticks around. And I can see him being back in the team at some point potentially.
He was, I think I've mentioned as well before previously, he was the starting keeper on our only home win in the Premier last time, wasn't he? And did the best once again with a really, really good performance against Chelsea. Look at Rob, James, and myself. Myself and James have gone for the same one here. And again, this may be more heart than head. Pre-season, maybe a slight bit of evidence to back up my answer here. I'll get your answer first, Rich, and Adam, you can chime in as well, because I think it's a player we want to see do well. It didn't really work out much last year, unfortunately. That is Eggerly. I know, obviously, we're going up in another league now, so you can argue, obviously, that the quality's even better. He didn't do that great in the championships. We saw a few sprinklings here and there. But, maybe there's something where, you can't get away with much as physically in the Premier League because VAR is kind of on you like a hawk. The ability to maybe draw a foul here and there, and he could be a bit trixier. O'Neill, more importantly, seems to want to play him in the middle, whereas he was kind of played out on the right and kind of getting found out for his pace a bit last season. I don't know, for me, it just seems something that could be unlocked. You want to see unlocked considering the price he paid for him and his age. But yeah, Richard, do you think maybe Eggley could stand a chance, or is it just off the bench sprinklings here and there with, most likely in CISO and 10?
Well, I think I made the seemingly stupid looking prediction that he wouldn't play for Town again, maybe. I thought he might move on. I really did, because I just thought, well, I mean, the fact that we play a trade so much and he wasn't an O'Neill signing, I could have seen him moving on, because you'd have still got good value for him given his age and stuff. But he seems to like something about him. I think it was plain to see, right? He doesn't have the pace, I don't think, to be a winger, nor the tricks, it feels, to really trouble decent fullbacks. So I think in the middle of the pitch, where hopefully his technical, I wouldn't say expertise, but like he looks like a technical player, and he's that's where he can maybe hurt people and have a bit of a career. But I don't know, that's a big ask. He's still only 19, 20 years old, so he may be given opportunities there. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I think once we sign a couple more players, you think and see, so it's likely to happen. There may even be another forward coming in as well, and it depends if Clark and Philogene stick around. I see him being further behind them, I think, than maybe second or third choice perhaps. So I'm not sure if I find it difficult to see him having taken that leap, but maybe he has. Who knows?
Yeah, Adam, you can kind of lump Rob's prediction to this one as well, because I've kind of forgotten about him, which is really sad to say. But Mehmeti as well, who Rob put as his potential unsung hero, but a bit more about him physically. But both those sort of players, you would argue, most likely that there's going to be someone ahead of him. It's difficult with this category because you want someone to do well, but most likely they're not going to see as much football this season.
Yeah, I thought he would be the one if any was going to move on out of that front line. Obviously, we signed him cheap. He was on 6 months of his contract at Bristol. We needed a job being done, and that guy did every job we needed him to. I don't think that he's got Premier League attributes, to be fair. I don't think he's really good enough to sort of do that. But obviously, at the same time, I didn't think he was that great for us at the end of last season. And I wouldn't have been shocked to see us sort of ship him off to a Birmingham or maybe a Wolves or something for £4 or £5 million, basically make a profit on him. And championship level is, I think, where he is. But everyone's in the squad. Everyone's been at pre-season. Everyone deserves a chance under a new manager. So, let's see what it brings.
What do you think is going to happen with Eggley, Adam?
I think that he's only been really played in the pre-season because we've limited options. I think with Jaden being injured, obviously in the second half yesterday when Jaden came on, Jack Clark moved into the 10. Yeah. Obviously he doesn't see Nunes as a 10, so he's playing Nunes deeper, which then only really left us with Eggley. And he done well in pre-season, but we didn't exactly. I know we had Union Berlin yesterday, but that didn't really look like much of a task. We sort of went 1-0 down, and then we were just in complete control. It's a pre-season match, and he looked good in pre-season, but will he? I think he can contribute, and I definitely hope that he sticks around. But at the same time, if he drops down to that third choice, I wouldn't mind seeing him go out on a loan, even if it was just till January. Just go and play for a Middlesbrough or a Millwall, someone at the top end of the Championship, and see that player flourish a bit. with regular game time, which I don't think he's really had with us.
No, it's hard to see where he can get regular game time as well to an extent with us this season. There's a lot of players you could argue that.
Yeah.
I think for him, if you're quite disheartened going back down to Championship when he did kind of struggle there last year, again with a new team as well. I think for him, being a young player as well, settling is really key to helping him become better and playing under a more consistent manager. But yeah, Eggerly's the one I've gone for there, but obviously there are factors that we'll probably see him on the bench more. A couple more before we finish up here, guys. And this is quite a big one because obviously we want all of us players to succeed this season, but we've all listed down who will be our player of the season. We'll come back to these in May time when we finish, I don't know, 6th. And we can just proper harken back to all the predictions. But
Emerson scored 30 goals. He's the new Igor Thiago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The town player of the season. Adam, you've put the same as me, so you wax lyrical about this lad, and then Richard can give your thoughts on this player, and then also tell us who you've picked as player of the season as well. But Adam, you start us off there, mate.
Yeah, I've gone for Sherpen. Obviously, he's come in. He's got Champions League experience. He's got top level in Belgium and in Holland. He's played at Sturm Graz as well. Like, this is a guy who feels like he's Premier League ready. Like, he's already been at the top level. He's massive. We see him yesterday. He comes and collects crosses really well. Obviously, he conceded 2 yesterday, which were more sloppy from the defence more than the goalkeeper error. I just feel that for a team who's going to be up against it, probably 50% of our games this season, you're going to rely on your goalkeeper. And yeah, that's why I feel that player of the season will go to Sherpen.
Yeah, I think we mentioned already a lot with him. Hopefully his sort of quashing of corners and free kicks and stuff and long throw-ins will be evident for all to see this year. Obviously, we've seen a few sprinkles of him playing with his feet, albeit, his first ever game at Popple, so nerves might have been there. But the quality is there to see, and as you said, experience hopefully does prove dividends, and he can be a really key player. Richard, before you get onto your player of the season, just thoughts on Sherpen. Obviously, you've been away for a wee while on the podcast, so names have come in. Are you excited about that move? It looks like could be a really key member of the squad.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's been such a problem, or not problem, but it has been a problem position, I suppose. It's been such a movable thing for 4 years, really. We've had so many number ones. So yeah, hopefully he nails it down. And I think what Adam's talking about, the experience and the kind of attributes that he's got look great. It comes down to style of play at the end of the day, really. I mean, I think the game in general is moving away from this sort of like playing out from the back, this slowly, at a slow pace. You look at the top teams; they're doing it at a far quicker pace, and they're going longer, much quicker, and all that kind of thing. So there's a more direct style of play in general to the league, and I think for promoted clubs, that playing out from the back straight to the centre back, this set routine every single time, that's kind of suicidal anyway, to be honest, because teams will just work you out, and they're quicker than you and more powerful than you, and you've got to get up to the speed of the league. So hopefully we're not going to do that, and I think for that reason, because I think the other guy that we brought in is better with his feet, from what I've seen anyway, then we're not relying on that particular attribute, even though he's not, as bad as some of the others that we've had in that position in the past. So I think, yeah, he's an upgrade on people like Palmer and Walton. So hopefully he goes really, really well. And I think Adam's right. He's going to be under the pump in quite a few games. And the fact that he can come for crosses and, free kicks and all that kind of stuff, which again is such a big part of the league at the moment, has to be a good thing for us.
And who's I mean, I can see it on my screen, but for the listeners and the watchers, who is your player of the season?
Well, it's with an asterisk, but it's Leaf, because I think he's coming into his career, the point in his career now where he's been at the club really long time. He's basically the last member of, apart from Christian Walton, of that band of brothers team, coming up in League One and stuff. And I think if he can recapture some of that form that he had as a player going forward in those championship seasons, and sometimes he's done it in pre-season, he scored a couple of goals, didn't he, against Rayo Vallecano and stuff. I think if he plays further up the pitch, you get out of Leif Davis what he's brilliant at, and that's his crossing ability. It's his engine getting up and down the pitch and causing a nuisance. I don't think he's a very good one-on-one defender. He never has been particularly, but he's got away with it because of his pace and stuff sometimes. So I don't think relying on him for his defensive work is a very good idea in the Premier League, but I think using his offensive attributes and having him work back and helping on the left-hand side as well, I think he could have a really good season. And if we play out from the back with that kind of directness, I suppose, which is what I'd hope to see, he could be a real asset, kind of like bombing on the left-hand side.
I guess with him, it's like, obviously everything you said, I hope it happens. But with him, it's like he had the freedom to move, especially when we went up 2 years ago in the League One, because we were, one of the big dogs in that league. We're not now, so that freedom of moving up may not be as normal or ever present. I'm not sure the right adjective here is, but I think there will be certain things that might restrict him doing that. But when he can do that, I think like you said, and it depends on the formation we play. We've seen clues make potential 5 sometimes. I doubt it, but playing a bit more of a defensive, he may be put on the left wing sometimes, and you could get someone to cover a Jacob Greaves, like you said, a left back as well, because you've seen a few pairings of those two on occasion, and it could work. We'll just look at, Adam, get your thoughts on James and Rob's predictions here, because they both put the same player. James did mention Lukic, but he had him in his sign of the season, so we're kind of moving away from that. But Rob and James have both put Dara O'Shea is their potential player of the season. Obviously, captain. He's been shipped out to right back during pre-season. We don't know if that's just to get all the lads on the pitch and get some minutes in, who move back to centre back when the season starts. Obviously scored a very good goal on the weekend, whipped across the face of the goal against Union Berlin on the weekend. He's going to play some minutes. Obviously, he's a captain. And you'd like to think him personally and professionally, he wants to have a better crack in the Prem with 2 relegations under his belt. Do you think he can have a better season this year like the rest of the team can?
Yeah, I do. I think Dara's a brilliant defender. Obviously, international captain. I just feel that he does need to have one of those seasons where he doesn't have a mistake early and knock his confidence. I think, the last thing he wants to do is slip on the ball or, make a wild tackle and get sent off after a whole year of yellow cards. If he plays his game, sensible game, I think Dara O'Shea is as good as anyone in this league.
Do you think, Richard, before we move to the last one, Dara O'Shea, obviously, when he came to the club, we were both a bit down on him perhaps, but I think last season we said he kind of proved his leadership qualities, his skill on the ball increased as well, and he's our leader now, isn't he?
He is, yeah. I mean, I think he did have a really good year last year. The jury is out for me a little bit at the Premier League level, but I hope that because when he's performed in the Premier League, it's been at the bottom, right, and he's got relegated. That's not down to him, but that's happened a couple of times. So I think he is an improved player from when he was there previously, for sure. And obviously the situation is a bit more stable with hopefully how we set up and being a bit less sort of open than we were before. But I think it will kind of depend where he is, because I think if he's shunted out to the right, I'm not sure if that's going to do him many favours. I think if he's at the back, that's where he is, in the centre of the defence. That's obviously his preferred position and stuff. So I think if he's our player of the season, if I'm honest, that probably means that the season's not gone great, because it normally goes to a defender or somebody, maybe even a goalie, as Adam
We've all picked defenders and goalies here, to be fair.
Yeah, but I've gone for one because he's bombing further forward.
Yeah,
it's not for his defensive attributes at all. But like, I hope he is the improved player that we think he is, and not that he's just going to hit a ceiling again in the Premier League. But attributes wise, he's got the lot for the Premier League. Pace, and he's better on the ball than he used to be. I think Adam's right. If he has a slip up, if any of them have slip ups earlier, we saw that with Greaves the last time he was in the Premier League. That knocked his confidence and stuff. So if the mistakes start happening, that's when promoted sides get in trouble, right? Because then the confidence goes. But hopefully we can have a strong start, and O'Shea can sort of lead from the front like he did last season so well.
Definitely. Final prediction before we wrap up, and we'll have a Sunderland preview some point this week, guys, so look out for that. But just for the final prediction, and this is kind of like a wild hot take one, so it's less likely. It can be a bit out there if you want. So we'll just go for you two first, and then I'll list off mine and Rob and James one. Adam, what's your one that you got for a town to achieve this season potentially, or anyone to achieve this season?
So I've gone for Ipswich to score 50 plus goals. I feel like we have massively
2 years ago, I think, around that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just feel like we've massively improved going forward. Obviously, you keep people like Jaden, he's going to chip in goals. Jack Clark will chip in goals. You've got the potential of Enciso. Emerson looks like he's a proper poacher. He holds the ball up really well. He'll bring players into it. Even Casey McAteer, he's all of a sudden just, he scored an absolute worldie left foot volley yesterday. Like, he's just another option from the bench, another person who can come in. And I just feel that we're going to have so much at the back where we've got Luis and Lukic who are going to hold. I feel like we're going to be a lot more forward playing this year. And I'd like to see us really go and give it a good go.
Yeah, there was a few, especially in the last stage of last season, we couldn't really find 2 seasons ago. Sorry, we really couldn't find the back of the net.
Yeah.
But I think the quality we've got this time, you'd like to think we can approach that 50 mark. Richard, what's your prediction for your sort of wild hot take?
Well, the tactic for a lot of that season was get the ball to Delap, right, and then he goes on a mazy run, or Enciso towards the end of that season.
Yeah,
he also just likes to shoot from anywhere, so he's bound to knock in a couple of goal of the season.
Books yet, guys. Come on.
Sorry, what did I say? I think I said something about Ben Johnson. Again, it's a bit tongue in cheek. The fact that he'll be at the club next summer, even though he'll probably only play about 10 games. He's a funny player, isn't he? He's got so many. He sometimes looks so good and so kind of like silky, and then he just looks absolutely kind of like not interested and unenergetic. He's a funny old player, but he seems to stick around, and I've gone for the fact that he'll still be at the club next summer.
Yeah, he's kind of like become like the forgotten man, hasn't he? Where maybe like the clubs that in that point as well were like, oh, let's just realize he's still here. That's probably not the case. But like as a fan base, like he has put some good performances in here and there. You look back in the Premier League, I think some of our most impressive performances were obviously Spurs away, Chelsea away. There were a few. I think that Fulham draw away at the start of the year as well. He was on the field for all those games, and I think did really, really well. Obviously, you don't expect him to start, but there were a few occasions. I think it's hard to do over a 38-game season, but hopefully he can maybe have a contribution this season. My one is kind of outside of Ipswich, but he's still in our hearts as a fan base. Even though he's taking a break, I said Kieran McKenna will return to football in January. Not for us. Not for us, I don't think. I think we'd be very surprised if he came back to Portman Road. We'd probably love it, but it probably means we're having a bad season if you have a new manager by January. But obviously, at that time of year, the changes do happen. He's taking a break from football. Whether it'll be a long enough break by January, who knows? Maybe want a longer one. But obviously, an opportunity may come up that he doesn't want to pass on. I think sometimes joining in January is a bit dangerous, given usually a team's in a bad slump if you are going to be coming to a team. But who knows? Maybe the opportunity is too good to pass up. But yeah, mine's McKenna returning to football in January. Any thoughts on that before we move to the other two lads, guys?
I think he goes to Celtic when Martin O'Neill finishes at the end of the season.
Do you think he'll finally go there?
I think just they obviously made it very clear that they weren't going to pay the whatever Ipswich's £8 million release clause.
Yeah.
McKenna takes 1 year out. Martin O'Neill signs a 1 year contract. It just feels like it's already in stone. Probably it's probably on the paper. It's already been signed. That's the only thing is obviously a club who would want to sign McKenna in January would still have to pay Ipswich the release clause, which
good point.
Ashton made that very clear that we were well protected. We'll let him go, but you've got 12 months where you still owe us the money for what you would have had to pay. So yeah, potentially.
Rob's one, and he's put Liam Delap rejoins on loan in Jan. I can seeing the rumours the past few days. I can see him probably being shipped off somewhere already. There's a lot, obviously, Chelsea have a lot of players there. It's just, I don't know about, obviously, we're not supporting Chelsea or anything, but I think it's a shame it hasn't worked out. I know he has a really poor season last year. My argument for him was like, as Richard said, he got the ball around the halfway line for us. So much open space to do what he does best and just bomb down at people. Whereas, for all their faults as a club, maybe it will turn around the season with Lonzo, but they still have a lot of possession, and he would have picked up the ball around the 6-yard box almost, or just to the edge of the D. Less for him to do what he's good at. And in the end, I think that's kind of how he got found out a bit last year. Obviously, a bigger microscope on him as well, being a bigger club. I've used quotes there if you want to call that. But yeah, it's a shame it didn't work at Chelsea by looks of things, Richard. But would you welcome a Delap return to Portman Road, or we need to change our style a bit slightly?
I would, because we need another striker. We need another number 9 in there competing. So because even if Hurst doesn't get sold, he's not good enough. So we need something. We need somebody else there to actually contribute. And I think Delap, those attributes that you talk about, they're perfect for a bottom half Premier League team, isn't it? Like anyone from 10th to 20th, he's perfect for. Newcastle, he'd be amazing for Newcastle, I reckon, just like bombing around and causing chaos. That's kind of what they do in their forward line. So yeah, it's a shame it's not worked out, but it's not really a surprise because Chelsea are a bit of a basket case of a club these days anyway, and it's just signed so many. But it must be so weird working for Chelsea. Maybe it will calm down, but you say that every time, they swap a manager, which is most summers, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously got the experience now to hopefully try and level things. It's like you sign young players and now you just go the opposite end. But yeah, we'll see. Last one, I'll get your thoughts on this first, Adam. And this is James's one, which I do like. Is it do the double over a top 6 side / unbeaten run of 10, which would be incredible. I'll take either of those, but I think we saw 2 seasons ago, some of our best performances came against those top 6 sides, as Richard said there. We didn't lose against Chelsea, good draw against Villa. We drew both games against Villa, actually, I think, and draw against United at home. I think Liverpool and City and Arsenal kind of spanked us, really, didn't they? But there were some away. Yeah, beat Tottenham away. Yeah, exactly. Like there were some good performances in there. Obviously some of the dross ones came really against sides we maybe thought we had a better chance against. So there is potential for something like this to happen, perhaps.
I'd like to know what 10 in a row he's seeing, because I think every 6 games,
I think.
Every 6 games we look at it and go, oh, there's a hard one, and then Liverpool, Man United are together, and Tottenham and Arsenal play together, and I think we've got Chelsea and Arsenal together. So it's not doable. Obviously, if you could not lose the 2 against the 2 big games, the teams around it will be the teams hopefully around us. So yeah, I wish I had the confidence that he has. I do think we'll pick up points where we're not expected to pick up points this season, but yeah, 10 in a row seems.
You got us scoring 50+ goals. He's got us losing 10 in a row.
How many did we score last time? I can't remember.
36, I think.
36, right? Okay,
yeah, we weren't miles away from 50. I just feel that 50 is a number. If you score 50 goals, I don't think you get relegated. I think that's enough goals to get you points that will keep you up eventually.
There's areas in that, isn't there, where that's an extra draw. That's that's like Burnley and Wolves got less than 40 last year. West Ham 46, but as I said, maybe a bit of an anomaly last season. But the 2 sides below them, one just away from that and one quite far away from it. So yeah, I think that's potentially possible. But that's going to do it for today's show, guys. As I said, we'll be back later in the week for our sort of Sunderland preview, then around this time next week for our review of Town's first game of the new season against Sunderland. Richard, Adam, thanks for joining me, guys. Hopefully some of those predictions come true in one way or another, and we can look back in May and say we got this bang on or we got it awful. And yeah, but it's a lot of football between now and then. But yeah, lads, thanks for joining. Everyone, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you want to give us a follow, head over to socials, Track to Noise Podcast. We're there, and give us a follow and a like, all that sort of stuff. And on YouTube, like and subscribe and all that sort of stuff. It's always helpful. Yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.